happens. Yeah, I was in the other channel until just before because I forgot about it. But yeah, I was like, I thought you might have been back by then, but yeah, I literally just got out of it. So no, that's good. No one else joined in. I don't know where they all are.
Yeah, maybe we can wait for a couple minutes in case if someone else will join, and then I think we can try to start.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have too much this week anyway. I've just been busy with work.
Let me share a link to our YouTube channel. Okay.
Is Nikita coming in tonight?
I'm sure. No, maybe someone will join later, maybe not. We'll see. But anyway, okay. As soon as no one joined, I think we can start. Maybe. Yeah. Let's try. Oh.
Oh, it's just me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let me respond you. Yep, great. Okay. I think in any case we can start. Sorry. Maybe it's kind of partial my fault. I didn't double check with you and speaker who had a speech last Sunday.
Oh yeah, Douglas with the Docker stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I didn't double check this Douglas. Sorry, maybe it's a kind of one of reasons why not. Yeah.
That's all right. We can always reschedule it. That'll be fun, I think.
But anyway, here good sides and the bad sides. I think a good side is that we can discuss something what wasn't covered before. Like, if I get it right, there was an idea to talk about quite interesting topic, not that popular, but still quite important, as Docker Swarm, right?
Yeah, Docker Swarm. Well, actually, I can go through something quickly related to that. Just let me share. I'll share my screen. This is the. Let me know when It's
Cool.
hold on. Yeah, cool. All right. So this site here is where I first sort of started playing with Docker Swarm outside of the basic tutorials. And this is, I don't know if you've heard of a tool called Fast API before, but it's a Python web framework. It's quite popular in the machine learning space, and it's called Docker Swarm Rocks, and this just goes over Docker Swarm and gives a quick tutorial on how to set it up. This is the one that I like. I'll zoom in a bit. So basically, it's Docker Swarm's great for anyone that has a team of less than 200 developers or clusters of less than 1,000 machines. So that's like most of us. And I like this part. He says, like when you're not Google or Amazon. So basically, any business, startup, or one-man hobby project, this is going to be a good distributed infrastructure for you. And if you follow it with this system here, you'll be up and running in about 20 minutes as long as you actually know Docker. And if this isn't enough for you, then you look into things like Kubernetes, Mesos, or Nomad, or whatever else there is. So you can start off with a single server. The big benefit here is it's not going to cost you a fortune. And you can basically go with a one-line command. Assuming you know how to set up a server, you can just connect into it. This walks you through. You can actually copy paste all of this and just run it this way. I would advise actually understanding. The official guide is linked in here for installing Docker, and then or you can copy this. I made a recommendation last week. This interrupted Douglas a bit, so we didn't dive into it. But hey, this has changed a bit. Docker.com. That's not the way that I used to use it. This is the way that I would use it. And this is the other one's official too. So you can just copy and paste this command, and that will install Docker. And this, that would work the same as well. So from here you can set up your swarm mode. And this is what takes it from being just a typical Docker instance to actually being a cluster. And you've done clustering before, haven't you? You do that in Java quite a bit. I know in our systems to identify something as a cluster, we basically just give it a tag that says it's in this cluster. And that's similar to what Docker Swarm does. It just has a lot more smarts in the background. So, say for example, this was the address that you had. You could run this command, and then it would give you what you need, and then you can add the additional nodes from there. Once you've run everything, I won't actually go through it because I don't have the hardware set up to do it properly now. But this is what you'd see once you've set it up properly, and that's actually how quick it is to set this up. The other thing that's handy with this project that I like specifically, Traefik is what they use for their reverse proxy. I tend to use Nginx, but Traefik's very similar to that. Gives you a lot more functionality, and this site tells you actually step by step. You don't even have to touch the code. You could copy and paste this into your Linux instance, and it would work. So if you went through step by step, this would set you up a proper Traefik. And this would give you SSL and everything. If you follow these instructions, you can actually use this in production. If you're a GitLab person, the guy that's behind this uses GitLab and GitLab CI/CD. You can follow their instructions, or it's quite simple. Actually, I'll show you what I'd do if you want to be even lazier. Let's because this would be useful in more than just Docker Swarm. I have this documentation, but the instructions are for GitLab. I want to use GitHub and GitHub Actions. Just copy and paste, and now it'll convert it to GitLab from GitLab. It'll do one for GitHub Actions for us. So if you ever run into anything like that, you can just get ChatGPT to convert it for you. It's really handy. Portainer is another one that came up. This is where I got introduced to Portainer. Douglas was talking about this for a little bit, but this gives you a web UI over Docker and Docker Swarm. It supports Kubernetes as well, but the power of this thing is that you can use templates. So Linux server Portainer template. So if I set up Portainer, where is it? I can just get the URL here. It's some JSON there, but it means I'll see do they have a screenshot of what it looks like? No, they don't. I'll see if I can find one. But basically, it's just a one-click for all this. So these are very popular open source applications, and they have it all one click. So if you don't know how to use Docker, you can still use it from here very easily, and that's 140 of the most commonly found apps just ready to go right there. That's a really powerful feature of Portainer. It shows you how to do it all here. You don't even have to really understand this. The way it's set out, you just copy paste it. Swarm Prom's another useful one. This is actually Prometheus, which is a monitoring and sort of metrics application. This will work on Docker Swarm. It has Grafana there as well, if you've used that before. So this is all the analytics that you need, all already well thought out and set up. You can just copy and paste these as well. You just got to make sure that you change example.com to whatever domain you're using. As long as you follow the instructions. I don't use SwarmPit. I prefer Swarm Prom. The other one that's cool is the Lounge. I don't know if you've used IRC before, but this is just a way to test that you can run any application. You can really change this to any Docker compatible application, and it will deploy it as a Docker Swarm app, and then you can test it out from there. So that's a quick overview on how I'd get started with Docker Swarm. It doesn't go into depth on anything like we probably would have if we prepared. But if you wanted to explore Docker Swarm and you had that resource, that would be more than enough for you to get going. And that's actually ready. You could use that in a production instance right now, and it would be stable.
That's great, but I have one small, but I think still quite important question. We have Docker, we have Docker Swarm, and we have Kubernetes. If you compare, let's say, in my understanding, at one of projects we used first Docker Swarm, and then current project we are using Kubernetes. So is correct to say that like Docker Swarm can be nice for, as you showed us, like for some small to mid-size projects, and if you have something really bigger, it's maybe better to switch to Kubernetes. Is correct?
It depends on your preference. Docker Swarm doesn't have all the features that Kubernetes has, but then again, Docker Swarm's probably a bit cheaper to run too. The other thing is that you can use Docker Swarm from your existing Docker knowledge, whereas to use Kubernetes and manage Kubernetes, you need the specialist Kubernetes knowledge. And so there's a huge learning curve, and that's where Docker Swarm's more advantageous to say a one-person project, because you can just leverage what you already know. That's the real advantage of it.
Yep, agree. Can you show, if you have some, I don't know, if it's not very complex, can you show some practical, maybe kind of examples, or like what can be done with Docker Swarm? Maybe like definitely we can't cover everything, but maybe some entry points if someone will be interested in digging deeper to Docker Swarm, so we could give.
Yeah, I'll share screen again. I'll go over the overview of it, because it's hold on a sec. I'll just wait until it shares.
Oh yeah, yes, one second. Let me share your screen. Yeah, sorry.
There we go. I'll zoom it in. So if we just I'll go over it again, because some people might not have watched the last talk, but Docker is just your single instance containers. I would use Docker on my local machine to develop, and then Docker Swarm's the extension of that. So to use Docker Swarm, it's the same instructions as we would have had for Docker. You will get Docker Swarm available in that same thing. Yeah, there you go. So there's a bit of a caveat here. If you install Docker the way that I showed earlier, you've installed Docker Engine, you haven't installed Docker Desktop. So you would have to install the classic way, which is now archived. I would actually have to double check their documentation. That might be something that needs to get fixed. So basically what it gives you is cluster management. That's something that we don't get in Docker by itself, but that is something that you will get in Kubernetes. Decentralized design, same sort of deal as Kubernetes, where you've got everything running as its own service. So that way, if something falls over, that part can be sort of recycled itself. It doesn't have to impact everything else. You have the service model similar to in Kubernetes, where you have to sort of define the infrastructure that's going to be there. You have to define the resources that it's going to use. You have to just define all the scaling stuff as well. What else does it have? This is all probably very advanced. This is a big one in Kubernetes with the service mesh stuff. It's a little bit different in Docker Swarm. It's a lot more hidden away to the user in Docker Swarm. And yeah, like you would have saw in the Docker Swarm rocks, where's our initial thing? Hold on a sec. What was I going to look at? Oh, there's a classic thing. That's what I wanted to check. Yeah, so this installs that. That'll be the difference. That command here is where it'll have to install. Yeah, that's really all there is. Practice. I'm just trying to think. Have we covered? Tutorial might cover it. Just trying to think of a real world use case. Have you used AWS ECS or anything like that?
ECS. Yep. At some project we used EC2 and ECS services, but right now at the current project we mostly focused on Google GCP cloud
Oh, okay, cool. Well,
environments.
yeah, I think ECS does. AWS. I should check this before I say it. Docker Swarm. Yeah, I think ECS is based around Docker Swarm. So
Oh,
you know how EKS is the Kubernetes side.
yep.
Yeah, ECS is the Docker version of that. So yeah, at our work we're an ECS stack, and yeah, it's really helpful for us. Do they say, they don't say that? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, ECS basically is the AWS version of Docker Swarm. I'm pretty sure that would be a very helpful way of explaining it.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's really what it is. It's the production way to do Docker. That I'd say when they were building this, they probably didn't know they'd be competing so hard with Kubernetes.
Yep.
But yeah, Kubernetes seemed to be the standard that won out. But it doesn't mean that Docker Swarm's not a powerful tool to choose. Like
Yep.
it's not something that I would write off.
Right.
Like Kubernetes is definitely the standard, but yeah, I like working with Docker Swarm.
And right now, are you using Docker Swarm right now at your current project?
No, I'm not. I haven't used it since actually in production I haven't used Docker Swarm since about 2020. So and that's not because it wasn't good enough or anything. That's just because I moved to a different project, and we're a Ruby shop, and we're not actually using Docker at all at the moment. So yeah, that might change in the future, but for now we don't get to use it. But if yeah, if we found out next week that we had a project that we had to deploy on it, I wouldn't be running away or anything. I'd be excited. I'd be happy to work with it again.
Cool. What about us? What about our current project right now? We are using it's not EKS. EKS it's Kubernetes version of AWS, but as soon as we are working on GCP cloud, so
GKE, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, GK. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I believe that's what we are using.
I've heard that's actually the reference install for Kubernetes.
Yep.
So that would be interesting to see. Hey, Rose here.
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, I got to drop off soon anyway because my daughter's got school camp tomorrow and we've got to get up early to get there.
Nice.
But yeah.
Cool. If everything will be fine, we are planning. I am planning to bring my son to competitions. Not next week, but in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Hopefully, not first one, but kind of first for quite a while. So actually, yeah. So he is training in Wushu and Jiu-Jitsu class.
Oh,
And,
awesome. Yeah, oh, that's good stuff. I think like I know I was sort of, if I had a boy, I would have been excited to do all that. But having a girl, it's just such a unique thing because everything that she does with me is something I haven't experienced before and I don't understand, which is quite cool in itself.
And what about camp? Is it like in a school camp in daughter's school, or some special? It's some
Yeah,
special
it's
occasions.
a different one actually. They're going into the city, and they get to do all this really cool stuff that I never got to do in school
Hmm,
camps.
hmm.
So they're like going up into a tower and seeing the city at night. They'll probably go out to, like, not a restaurant, but some sort of food
Mhm.
thing that they'll all do and get to experience a city lifestyle. I never got to do that at school camp when I was at school.
Yeah, nice, sweet. Okay, maybe someone. Well, Rahul is here. If I pronounce right your name, Rahul, you have maybe a couple last chances to ask some questions from Dean. If you want, we briefly discuss today. Sorry, I was a little bit chaotic today. It's my fault, a bit disorganized. But the most important thing, we finally did it. So it's already good. We had a live stream. We have hopefully we'll have a recording. So it's
Ah,
important to
that's all
keep it
good.
consistent.
Yeah, at
And
least we turned up.
yep. Actually, I think it's a really good thing to have such a collection of such discussions, presentations. If anyone will, yeah. Actually, I will need it for myself for sure, definitely.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, that was a good. Like, I just made that all up on the spot, but I remember that resource. Like, that's something I always keep on hand because I know if I ever want to use Docker Swarm, if I follow that, it's going to work well because I've used that in the past and it never let me down once.
cool.
So, and well, as you know, if you're managing large systems, that's exactly what you want.
Maybe just a couple seconds. I'll try to don't be keep it long, but maybe you can share some maybe quick, like it's quite a reasonable question. Did you have some kind of bottlenecks or some issues with Docker Swarm? So maybe you could share some solutions if anyone will meet something similar to it.
I actually never had any issues. Like, I never came close to maxing it out. Like, when I was using it, I for actual one of the cool things about it is you can use it on a single node. Um, I I only ever needed to scale up to 3 nodes. That's the most I ever, like,
Mhm.
scaled up. And, yeah, that was with I think they were only 1 gigabyte of memory servers each, so they were quite small, the nodes, and, yeah, I only ever had to go up to 3 of them.
Do you have to configure after scaling? Or it's something like after scaling in AWS, like automatic one, how it works? Briefly, please.
I had to scale up manually, but
Mhm.
I chose to do it that way, but, you can auto scale it as well.
Mhm. Cool.
Yeah, and it was as simple as just changing the YAML configuration to say, "Hi, low level." We haven't actually done a lot of that yet. You can check out the GitHub. I've done a bit of a design, but I didn't want to take over from Bilal's idea too much. So mine's just a really rough sketch, and then once we get the idea refined, I can do that again. But I think Bilal might be at a level where he might actually want to do that, and it would be a good opportunity for him. Because, like, as you know, like, McCullough, like, once you've done it for work, there's no real benefit in you doing it over and over again. So if you can get someone new to do one of those tasks, then they'll get a lot more out of it.
Oh,
That's a good one. I've got a good repo for you, actually. I'll paste it in the chat.
mhm. Cool. Interesting.
It's in the GitHub trending today. Let me just grab it. Okay, it's moved. or I misread it. I will find it. There we go. Cool. Yeah, this is the big one.
Cool. Let me share. Can I share this? Share it in YouTube
Yeah.
live as well if someone will need it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, this is also this is the one that I actually used. There is a newer one, but I haven't really looked at it before. So I'll share that as well actually. That's another good one.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thanks a lot. It's really great.
Yeah, I was lucky with the system design stuff because over time I was just learning stuff and I didn't actually realize it was part of system design. Like I just needed it for my job or whatever I was working on. And before I knew it, I'd already learned most of the topics that were in there. It's like, hey, I know that too now. So that's good.
Yeah. Nice. Organic way of learning. Yeah. Cool. Okay. I think, well, there are maybe some last chances to ask some questions because I really don't want to keep you for too long. I really
Yeah, that's it.
hope.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have a longer one next time.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, next time. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, Dean.
All right.
Thanks a lot,
Good to see you.
Rahul.
And yeah,
And yeah.
it's a shame no one else dropped by, but oh well. Till next time.
Yep.
All right. Catch you later.
And I want to say thank you everyone who will watch recording of this session. So yeah.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
And show us and have a great rest of the Sunday of the weekend. And most important, I want to wish you a great camping experience. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Catch us.
Bye.